Tariq Melrose here. Today we were treated to another round of Who Can Dodge the Question the Best? It's like a reality TV show, except the stakes are real and the consequences affect all of us. But don't worry, I watched the whole thing, so you don't have to. Subscribe and stick around. The game ends here.
Marjorie Taylor Greene turned a serious security hearing into wild conspiracy theater, proving again Republicans crave chaos over truth and democracy. Stay tuned, because in this video, we'll break down Greene's grandstanding and show how Democrats are pushing for real accountability.
Recognizes Ms. Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Cheadle, I'd like to remind you that you're under oath. The site team has a senior supervisor, an advanced team, a protective intelligence team, a counter sniper element, and detail. Who was the agent in charge? How long has she been the agent in charge? And what is her Secret Service background?
So I'm not going to provide a name.
Why not? You're here to answer our
In this
questions.
forum, I'm not going to provide names of.
You stated in your testimony, you said, I am here today to answer your questions.
That is correct.
Answer the question.
I'm not going to provide names of our personnel. To
Why
this
not?
committee today.
The American people are demanding these answers from you today, Ms. Cheadle.
I will do the best to provide you accurate information based on the facts that I have at this time.
You're not answering our questions. The advance element coordinates with other intel or law enforcement partners, identifies threats and weaknesses at the sites and movements. We'd like a copy of the advance report. Have you brought it here with you today?
We will comply with the request for the documentation that has been requested.
When will that be, Ms. Cheadle? Because you should have brought it today.
I am certain that our personnel are working on obtaining all of that documentation.
I don't believe you, and neither do the people watching this hearing. You're not doing well, as Mr. Moskowitz informed you. You've been sitting here for over 3 hours, and I have you know the entire country is demanding you resign and demanding that you be fired if you do not resign. Things are not going well for you. You need to answer the questions. Was there a protective intelligence team, and what technical resources were utilized for that event, specifically drone or helicopter assets?
There were a number of technical assets that were deployed for that event, and there was a protective intelligence team that was assigned to that event.
Why was Crooks able to fly a drone over the entire area the day of the rally and the day of his assassination attempt?
To my knowledge, he did not fly the drone over the entire area.
How did he fly a drone over the area, period? Any part of the area?
Again, I would have to go back and check the timeline of when that took place and when the event.
Why didn't you bring the timeline with you today to answer our questions?
I don't have all of the answers on the timelines based on the criminal investigation.
Were you not prepared today to answer our questions?
I am prepared to answer the questions based on the information and wanted to be able to provide.
Do you have a timeline that do you have a timeline at all from any of the day?
I have a timeline that does not have specifics.
That's shocking. That is absolutely unacceptable. That means you are a failure at your job. Let's talk about things that are prohibited in Trump rallies. And I've been to a lot of Trump rallies. Backpacks and bags. Bicycles, firearms, any type of weapon, or any other item determined to be a potential safety hazard, like a rangefinder would be one. At 5:10, Crooks is first observed by one of the snipers, AGR Sniper 1, at the building. 5:10, President Trump was shot in the face at 6:11 p.m. 5:28, AGR Sniper 1 takes a picture of a bicycle and 2 bags. Those belong to Crooks. 5:32, AGR Sniper 1 spots Crooks looking at his phone and using a rangefinder. 5:55, Butler ESU Command confirms receipt of photos and states they have been relayed on. 6:05 p.m., AGR Sniper 1 later communicates that Crooks is seen moving northeast in direction of Sheets and that Crooks has a backpack. 2 minutes before the shooting, while President Trump has been allowed to take the stage, People see Crooks laying on his stomach in a sniper position on the roof, and they're yelling he has a gun, and they are trying to alert law enforcement and Secret Service. Why was Crooks not shot by the snipers? Why was he allowed to be there?
As soon as the individual was identified as a threat, they were...
No. What do you consider to be a threat? A man with a gun laying in a sniper position, a man that had a backpack, a man that had a bicycle, a man that had a rangefinder. At what point is he determined a threat?
An individual with a backpack is not a threat. An individual with a rangefinder is not a threat.
What about a man laying on a building that has direct line of sight of President Trump with a gun that people are screaming and pointing out? Is that a threat, Ms. Cheadle?
Once that individual was identified, they were neutralized.
No, they were neutralized. Crooks was neutralized after he shot President Trump in the face, Ms. Cheadle. Is he only a threat once he fires the weapon?
As soon as the counter sniper identified that individual, they were able to neutralize them.
How were people in the crowd? Okay, then let's just take it this way. People under your command did not consider him to be a threat, yet people in the crowd knew he had a gun and considered him to be a threat. That means that you are a complete failure as the director of the Secret Service, that people under your command don't perceive a man laying on a roof with direct line to the president with a gun. They don't perceive that to be a threat, yet the people in the crowd do. How is that possible?
That's the last question, but please answer the question, Ms. Director.
I'm not certain at this time how the information from the people in the crowd was relayed to any law enforcement personnel.
No, you knew, that everyone knew. The people there knew that there was a danger. They knew there was a threat to President Trump, and it was allowed to happen. Was there a stand-down order, Ms. Cheadle? No. Was there a conspiracy to kill President Trump?
Absolutely not.
Then how did this happen? And why are you still sitting here not turning in your letter of resignation?
Last question, but please answer, and then I'll recognize Ms. Presley. Please answer that question. Director.
That is what we are investigating to determine.
We're waiting for your letter. We are waiting for your letter of resignation, and you really need to consider doing that before you leave today.
Chair now recognizes Ms. Presley from Massachusetts.
Thank you. No one.
Let's start with the obvious. What we just witnessed was not a hearing, not oversight, not fact-finding. It was pure circus theater from Marjorie Taylor Greene, a woman who seems less interested in legislating than she is in manufacturing sound bites for right-wing social media. And once again, she delivered the chaos, the misinformation, and the embarrassing meltdown that defines today's Republican Party under Donald Trump's shadow. Now, let's be clear. This was supposed to be a serious security hearing. Lawmakers were tasked with discussing threats to our institutions, threats to American families, and the challenges facing communities across the country. Instead, Greene hijacked the microphone, spewed a cocktail of conspiracy theories and personal insults, and derailed the entire proceeding with her trademark blend of arrogance and ignorance. What was her strategy? The same tired Republican playbook. Distract from real issues. Americans want solutions on healthcare, wages, education, reproductive rights. Republicans offer none of that. So Greene brings up irrelevant smears and conspiracy drivel to distract. Demonize Democrats. Because the GOP has no policy agenda except tax cuts for billionaires and culture wars, they resort to demonizing figures like AOC, Biden, and even the witnesses testifying under oath. Play to the MAGA base. Everything she says is designed for a Fox News clip, not for governing. It's performance art for the far right, and it's exhausting. Let's pause here, because the sheer hypocrisy is mind-blowing. Greene rants about Democrats supposedly undermining small businesses, yet Republicans are the same party blocking minimum wage increases, blocking child tax credits, blocking healthcare access for workers, and giving away tax breaks to corporations that ship jobs overseas. Think about that. They cry crocodile tears about helping small businesses, but when it's time to vote, they're in the pocket of Amazon, Exxon, and every billionaire donor who funds their campaigns. And let's not forget, this meltdown wasn't just embarrassing for her, it was humiliating for the Republican Party. Every time Greene opens her mouth, she reminds America that the GOP has traded Lincoln and Eisenhower for QAnon and Trumpism. The so-called party of family values has become the party of conspiracy memes and Twitter rants. Now, here's where Democrats come in. While Greene was melting down on live TV, Democrats stayed focused. They pushed for real oversight. They defended programs that keep small businesses afloat. They reminded the country that economic recovery isn't about cutting unemployment benefits. It's about investing in workers, rebuilding infrastructure, supporting healthcare, and strengthening education. That's the difference. Republicans call working people lazy. Democrats call them essential. And can we talk about the irony? Greene accuses Biden of incentivizing laziness. This from the party that spent 4 years with Trump at the golf course, who clocked more tee times than policy wins. This from the same Republicans who handed out trillion-dollar tax cuts to the ultra-rich, no work required. But when a working mom gets a few extra dollars to keep food on the table during a pandemic, suddenly it's socialism and the end of civilization. Give me a break. What we're seeing here is projection. Greene and her Republican allies project their own failures onto Democrats. They accuse Biden of falling asleep, but it's Republicans who are asleep at the wheel when it comes to governing. They accuse Democrats of destroying small businesses, but it's Republicans who opposed PPP loan oversight and funneled relief money into the pockets of their donors. They accuse Democrats of corruption, but it's Trump who walked out of the White House with classified documents stuffed in a box at Mar-a-Lago. And let's not sanitize this. This isn't just political theater. It's dangerous, because when Greene uses her platform to attack Democrats with lies, it fuels division. It emboldens extremists. It gives cover to hate groups that already threaten our democracy. Words have consequences, and the GOP has turned misinformation into a business model. Now, I want to pull back the curtain a little bit. Why does Greene act this way? It's not because she's stupid, although plenty of people would argue that case. It's because she knows chaos pays. Outrage is her brand. Every time she throws a tantrum on live TV, she raises more money from MAGA donors. Every time she smears Biden or AOC, she gets another Fox News hit. Every insult, every conspiracy theory, every meltdown is strategic. And it's Republicans like Kevin McCarthy who enable it because they're terrified of losing the MAGA base. So let's be real. Greene isn't just one rogue congresswoman. She's the symptom of a larger disease. She represents a Republican Party that has abandoned governing for grievance, a party that has abandoned policy for personality cults, a party that doesn't care if America burns, as long as they can fundraise off the flames. But here's the good news. Every time Greene pulls a stunt like this, she reminds Americans why the GOP cannot be trusted with power. She reminds independents, moderates, and even some conservatives that the Republican Party is not serious about solving problems. And come November, voters remember. Now, let's pivot to solutions, because unlike Greene, Democrats actually have them. Democrats passed the American Rescue Plan that saved millions of jobs. Democrats passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, the largest investment in our nation's future in decades. Democrats capped insulin prices, expanded health care, and delivered student debt relief. Democrats are fighting every day to protect voting rights, reproductive freedom, and Social Security, while Republicans try to gut them. That's the contrast. One party works for working people. The other party works for Mar-a-Lago billionaires. So when Greene goes on her tirade about Biden being the greatest threat to small businesses, remember, the real threat to small businesses is a Republican Party that refuses to raise wages, refuses to expand health care, and refuses to hold Wall Street accountable. The real threat to small businesses is a GOP obsessed with banning books and controlling women's bodies instead of investing in jobs and education. And let's be blunt, Marjorie Taylor Greene isn't a legislator. She's an internet troll with a congressional badge. Her job isn't to write laws. Her job is to throw bombs, sow chaos, and keep the MAGA circus alive. But the American people are smarter than she thinks. They see the circus, they see the lies, and they're ready to move forward with real leadership. That's why it's so important we keep calling this out. Because democracy doesn't collapse overnight. It collapses when extremists like Greene go unchecked, when lies replace truth, when performative outrage replaces governance. That's why progressive voices, democratic leaders, and everyday Americans must keep standing up and saying, enough is enough. So here's my bottom line. Marjorie Taylor Greene embarrassed herself. She embarrassed her party. She embarrassed Congress. And in doing so, she gave Democrats a gift, the reminder that the GOP has no plan, no vision, no leadership, just chaos, corruption, and cult-like devotion to Trump. And that's why we fight. That's why we vote. That's why we organize. Because America deserves leaders who tell the truth, who govern responsibly, who actually care about working families, not clowns in a circus, not extremists with microphones, and not Trump's enablers. So if you're as tired of this circus as I am, here's what you can do. Stay informed, stay engaged, and stay vocal. Call out the lies. Support candidates who actually care about democracy. And most importantly, show up at the ballot box, because that's how we stop Greene and her Republican enablers from dragging this country backwards. Thanks for watching. This has been Tariq Melrose Vlogs, where we cut through the noise, call out the hypocrisy, and defend democracy one video at a time. If you found this breakdown useful, make sure to hit subscribe, smash that like button, and share this video with friends who need to hear the truth. Together, we can push back against the chaos and keep building a future grounded in facts, justice, and progress.